This is not history meant for forgetting. This is the survival code from Vietnamese military strategy that the minds of Israel are yearning to decode for the next 30 years. There are times when you are sitting still. Yet in your mind, you have already run 10 years ahead of your own life. We no longer live in the present, we are living within an invisible deadline. If speed is absolute power, then why did the fastest entities in history die the earliest? Episode 6. You are lying next to someone. But your mind is on a project for next month, an anxiety for next year, or an ambition for 10 years from now. The win immediately fever. We have been programmed to rush. The performance-driven society teaches us a very simple thing. Whoever is faster wins. Whoever occupies first masters. But history on this S-shaped land has written a completely opposite equation. The Mongol fleets of those years arrived with a blitzkrieg mindset, lightning war. Instant victory. They were accustomed to the open steppes, where speed determined survival. The problem was, they could not stop. Stopping meant depleting rations. It meant power fractures back home. It meant admitting that a gargantuan empire was being held back by a small nation. The invader is always a prisoner of time. They need an immediate conclusion. Die Viet did not. We had nothing but time and patience. When you confront an opponent who is not afraid to wait, you have lost from the very moment you began. General Tran Hung Dao did not simply block them. He slowed them down. As each day passed, the enemy's confidence eroded like stone meeting rain. Bloodlust turned into fatigue. Fatigue turned into bewilderment. Time became a trap with no escape. Are you rushing to build a career only to end up exhausted and empty? Or are you calm enough to wait for the opportunity to fall into your hands like a ripening fruit? Romance does not lie in speed. It lies in the rhythm. The rhythm of a nation that knows time is the ally of righteousness. Are we truly living, or just racing toward a pre-programmed, fake finish line? Do you have true friends, or just entertainment partners, running alongside you through hollow days? This question does not need an immediate answer. Time will answer for you. Episode 7. How are you? I'm fine. A smooth response. And a soul completely frozen. The state of absolute immobility. In the strategy of Die Viet, there is a state more terrifying than bombs and bullets. It is absolute immobility. When the Mongol army marched into the capital of Thang Long, they saw no battle lines. No defensive troops. No resistance. There was only an empty city. No people. No rice. No sound. It was like a heavyweight boxer throwing the most powerful punch of his life into thin air. The harder the punch, the more the striker loses his balance. The silence of Die Viet was an acoustic wave that destroyed from within. It forced the opponent to ask, "Who am I fighting? Where is the enemy?" While they engaged in a dialogue with their own fear, their logistics system bled out. Food ran dry. Morale dissolved. Not a single arrow needed to be fired. This was not fleeing. This was energy control. 30 years from now, the high-performance world will still collapse before those who know how to become invisible in broad daylight. Are you screaming for recognition in a noisy society? Or are you lucid enough to maintain silence and preserve your internal strength? A family can be full of people but lack a soul when we no longer create moments of stillness. Freezing is not dying. Freezing is preparing for a more vigorous life after the winter. Episode 8. Open your phone's contact list. You imagine that with a few taps, you control your relationships and emotions. Invading empires believed the same. The fatal calculation. They had detailed maps, precise compasses, superior technology. But nature always holds a margin of error. The greatest error on the Bach Dang River was the rhythm of the tides. With a deviation of just 15 minutes, an entire copper-clad fleet becomes stranded rotting wood upon rows of invisible stakes. The Vietnamese did not win because they were stronger. They won because they knew the margin of error by heart. They did not impose their plans upon nature, they listened to it. The romance of Bach Dang did not lie in spears and shields. It lay in the eternal rhythm that belongs to no empire. The invader brought dogmas, the Vietnamese brought the water. When you believe your plan is perfect, you have forgotten the breadth of reality. A small error in trust can shatter a family. A fleeting moment of indifference can bring down an empire. Do you smile because you think you control destiny? Or because you are humble enough to live in harmony with the laws of existence? We are kind, yet we fail to touch each other's pain because we have erased all emotional margins of error. Do you love them, or are you merely accustomed to their presence like a programmed habit? The truth always lies in the errors we deliberately ignore. Episode 9. There are moments in life when you stand perfectly still. Yet everything inside you is vibrating. Not out of fear, but because you know, if not now, then never again. In the strategy of Die Viet, destiny is not measured by the clock. It is measured by the water level, the precise point of impact. Visualize the Mongol fleet surging down the Bach Dang River. Gigantic ships, clad in copper, carrying the absolute belief that, by being faster, by being stronger, they would escape. The river's surface opens before them, vast, peaceful, shimmering. A road home. A logical exit. But beneath that water, iron-tipped stakes of ironwood are waiting. No rush. No movement. Only breathing, in rhythm with the receding tide. General Tran Hung Dao did not give the order when the water was at its highest. Nor did he wait until the riverbed was bone dry. He chose the moment of suspension, when the enemy had traveled deep enough that they could not turn back. Yet before they could realize where they had stepped, this was not a counterattack. This was time itself taking action. The sound of waves lapping against the hulls then seemed so soft. So soft that they mistook it for a melody guiding them home. Only when the hulls struck the stakes, and the sound of splintering wood merged with the roar of the water, did destiny officially close the door. We often fail not because we are weak, but because we strike too early out of impatience, or too late out of fear. Are you firing your life away for a single moment of flash and glamour? Or are you quietly waiting for the impact to drop deep enough that everything breaks of its own accord? Kindness at the wrong time can become a nuisance. Courage at the wrong rhythm can become suicide. The point of destiny is where patience shakes hands with decisiveness. No noise, but strong enough to bend the very flow of history. We are running so fast that we no longer hear our own exhaustion, and history has witnessed the price of such blind velocity. When you are racing at your peak, are you moving forward? Or are you simply shortening your own path to collapse? Episode 10. There are nights you lie down, exhausted. A day spent running at full throttle. So many tasks completed. Yet your mind stands perfectly still. Why is it that the fastest runner is often the last to reach the finish line? Because speed, when it does not align with the laws of nature, is merely a shorter path, leading to a mistake. The blades of velocity. The Mongols were masters of velocity. On the steppes, their horses' hooves were a storm. No defensive line could be raised in time to meet them. But at the Bach Dang River, that very speed became the scythe. They surged down the river like those born to dominate, only to find themselves trapped in the mire, faced with wooden stakes that did not move at all. The Vietnamese slowed down, and they let nature do the rest. When the tide receded, those copper-clad ships were no longer symbols of power. They became heavy coffins, unable to move, unable to turn, unable to escape. The enemy had reached the finish line, but it was the finish line of their own end. 30 years, 300 years, or 3,000 years from now, the world will continue to race. AI faster, ambition larger, pressure more intense. But the law remains unchanged. The survivor is the one who knows when to stop. Are you running fast just to prove a point? Or are you building a life deep enough not to be swept away by every tide? This final question is not for your intellect. It is for the part of you that is still, truly alive. Do you smile because you think you arrived first? Or because, for the first time, you realize you are no longer being pulled by invisible commands? The waves of history continue to lap the shore, without urgency, only a gentle reminder. In the race against time, the one who knows how to wait is the one who holds the key.